Don't let the haters get you down, mama. Don't let the haters get you down. You are a winner and you always will be.
Welcome to Snatched.
Boo!
I am here with Carol. Okay, can I reveal that? Can I reveal that your alter ego is Carol?
My Zoom name is Carol.
Tia.
Yes, it's true.
I am here with Carol, aka Tia Kofi, Queen of the Mother Tucking World. Tia, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm wearing a cardboard crown from Burger King until my actual one arrives.
I saw that on your story and I was like, where is that? Is that Burger King or is that McDonald's? I have no clue, but come on,
It's
Burger King.
it's Burger King because I think currently, unless I'm mistaken, Burger King are responsible with their finances.
Congratulations on becoming Queen of the Mother Tucking World. I was there on Friday. I saw you win, and it was such a wonderful evening full of positivity and joy. How have you celebrated over these past few days?
I slept on Saturday and then had a roast on Sunday, and then had dinner with my friends on Monday, and now it's Tuesday. Wait, is it Wednesday?
It's Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday. And now I'm sitting.
That's how a British person celebrates winning 50K on the biggest reality show in the world.
Yeah. It seemed like the most appropriate thing. I don't think it's sunk in yet. I'm just trying to do like very normal things because it kind of doesn't feel like I've won yet, but I'm sure it'll hit at some point.
Well, let it sink in. You're Queen of the Mother Tucking World. Let that sink in.
Yeah, I did it.
Have you got your 50 Gs yet? Do they send it over straight away?
No, it's coming tomorrow.
I wonder what it will like come up as. BBC, RuPaul, Michael Face. What will it?
It comes directly out of Ruth Paul's account. That's her admin name, Ruth.
Do we know how Georgie has reacted to your win yet?
Thorgy hasn't said anything. Bob tweeted about checking on Thorgy to see how she was, but I've had no response from Thorgy. I've had lots of lovely messages from past contestants and past winners, which has been wonderful. The best one, like I've had like amazing like winners like Jinx and Jimbo have messaged and said very kind things. My favorite one was from Vivacious. I'm obsessed with her. I am obsessed with her. I love her so much.
What does she say, if you're allowed to reveal, of course?
Don't let the haters get you down, mama. Don't let the haters get you down. You are a winner and you always will be. And I was like, I can hear it in her voice and I like it. I love her. She's so uplifting as a person. Honestly, bring her back for an All Stars.
Please, please. Also, one thing I wanted to ask you last week, which I didn't get a chance to, did Natalie Cassidy ever respond to your homage?
Yeah, Natalie Cassidy reposted on her story. Icon. When is Natalie Cassidy going to be a guest judge on RuPaul's Drag Race UK? That is the real question.
I mean, there's a lot of EastEnders stars that need to go on there. I mean, the fact that Jessie Wallace has not been on there.
True.
Barbara
I
Windsor,
would say no.
cut that out completely.
Michelle has taken over hosting Down Under, so if Michelle takes over Drag Race UK, I think Natalie Cassidy should take Michelle's place. Fact.
That would be, you'd have to come back. You just have to come back to be Natalie Cassidy.
Yeah, me as Natalie Cassidy. Or if I'm honest, Catherine Ryan, because she was an iconic judge this season. Loved her.
What was it like? I want to ask you this. To have won Drag Race, to a Kylie Minogue song, no less, Your Disco Needs You, a camp classic. How does that feel? How does that make your soul feel that you wanted that song?
It makes my soul feel great because the only reason I know that song is from DJ Demon playing it at the Two Brewers for like the last decade of my life. So like, not only was I wearing a dress dedicated to my mother in a wig that I had borrowed from my drag sister Woe Adams, but I was lip syncing to a song that I know because of the bar that I started dragging. So it all kind of felt like a wonderful coming together. But then obviously I have anxiety, so my brain was going, but Kylie Minogue's Australian, so that means Hannah's gonna win. But for me, it was a lovely like coming together of all my worlds in one.
Obviously, with your win, you've made history as the first Queen of Colour to win Drag Race UK. What do you think this historic moment means for POC viewers at home?
There's actually been a really lovely reaction because like obviously that hasn't happened in what we've had 5 main seasons and a versus the world prior to this. So in 6 series of the show, all the winners have been white, which despite people trying to argue to the contrary, in terms of percentage population, actually doesn't make any sense. So to be the first person to, yeah, and yes, I did sit there and do the maths even before I got this phone call because I'm that kind of person. Um, but to be the first person to do it and be able to represent people of color in the UK is incredible. I've had so many lovely comments from people who have said that they feel reflected and represented as a result of this, and I think it's incredibly important.
It feels like you haven't been able to fully celebrate because of these toxic Drag Race fans. I mean, I don't think it's even appropriate to call them fans because their behavior completely contradicts what Drag Race is. So I just want to know how you're doing with the negative side of it.
I am spending as little time on my phone as humanly possible for that reason. It's not very nice, to be honest with you. And there's not really much point in me saying anything because they won't listen anyway. Um, it's just making me feel really sad and not be able to like appreciate these things. Um, and it's not okay because it will stop at the point that they decide that they can attack someone else for some sort of reason. And that just makes me even sadder that the only way that I will be rid of this behavior is when they want to attack someone else. Um, I'd rather they didn't attack someone else. I'd actually prefer to just have to be the one to sit and take it so that it doesn't need to happen again. But wouldn't it be nice if we just lived in a world where people weren't like deeply, deeply unpleasant to each other? And that would be so simple to do. You could just think your thoughts and not feel compelled and entitled to share them like some sort of hideous narcissistic beast.
It's just ironic that one of the shows that promotes love and acceptance, the show that promotes love and acceptance, has this kind of behavior from the fans. It's like they don't listen to what RuPaul is saying.
Well, I mean, Rue literally says if you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love somebody else? And I guess all the people who are spreading hate must have some issues going on. And for that, I apologize. And I hope it gets better for them.
It's just so daft because, you know, this whole push by production narrative. I want a t-shirt. I need a t-shirt. Buy her t-shirts on Tia Kofi.
You better bet.
But this whole push by production thing, it's kind of like, what is a queen supposed to do on that stage? Are you supposed to go, no, Rude, you know what? I'm not going to accept this win because the fans won't like it. Why do people then send hate to a queen who's been rewarded?
The push by production narrative is weird because Rue makes the decisions and she's the executive producer. So I guess yes. Um, but also it's such a strange narrative because like I won 1 out of 4 lip syncs. If they really wanted to like paint me as like the winner and keep it in the UK and all of that kind of thing, I think they probably would have made me look a bit better. Like they have the power to edit everything and they have the power to steer the narrative if they so wish. And I think it was, for the most part, a fairly honest portrayal. If I'm honest, I watched some of it and I was like, oh, I actually did better at that than it looks like. But I guess they've had to cut it down because the episode's shorter. Like the actual advertising challenge, for example, of course, the adverts were longer than you saw. There was more content in it, but there's a certain length of episode, so you can't criticize people for having to cut things down.
That finale, it was one of the best finales I think Drag Race has ever had. One, because the reunion was interwoven seamlessly, and I love that. But also because the queens radiated joy. How do you go from watching one of the most joyous episodes of television ever to then sending hate? It's absolutely therapy. They need therapy.
I just think people don't remember that drag is fun. Like, I think Hannah and I were really fun in that final episode. I'm really silly and just having a really nice time and entertaining the judges in the way that the judges want to be entertained. Like the same fans that can sit there and be like, oh, well, rule number one is make Rue laugh. Like, how many times have they said that on American seasons? Snatch Game, the rule is make Rue laugh. This random mini challenge, as long as I make Rue laugh. And then, like, we're making Rue laugh, and they're like, oh no,
Yeah.
that's not what you're meant to do. You're meant to be really serious. I don't want to be serious about that kind of thing. I don't like lip sync anyway as my performance style. So it's miraculous that I found the ability to move my mouth and walk at the same time without producing sound. That is not a multitasking thing that I do on a day-to-day basis. So I'm pretty proud of that.
I want to ask you just one more question about the trolls, just because I don't want to give them too much attention. I saw your comment on Mayhem Miller's post about all the hate, that you're disappointed that more queens have not spoken out. Can you talk to me a little bit about that? Is that Have you been disappointed that certain queens haven't spoken up?
Yeah, I have been, and there has been discussion within our group, and there were people who had not necessarily noticed or seen what has been happening, and now it's been shown to them. Because it is predominantly me and Mayhem who have received a lot of the hate, and you can't really say that's because placements have been pushed because Mayhem went first and I won. So I wonder what the consistent thread is between the two of us that might make people objectively have an issue for no reason. You can make your own conclusions about that. It's racism. But like Mayhem's like had a really difficult time and it's been completely unfair. But now it's been discussed within our group chat. I've seen many of the queens have put posts out which are really appreciated, that highlight the point that we don't want people to be treated in that way, and we don't want people to be just sort of brutalized by this like weird narrative that's been spun because a few people with a few followers on Twitter or TikTok or Instagram used a particular phrase, and now every twink in the fandom thinks that they can say pushed by production and it means something. It doesn't. It doesn't mean anything unless I put it on a t-shirt and you bought one.
Let's ignore the toxicity and continue to talk about your achievements and incredible run on this season, because
Then I can have some tea in what you do.
you won 4 challenges: the advert,
Yeah.
the snatch game, the ruse call, all staple drag race challenges. What are you most proud? What are you most proud of though this season when looking back?
Which one am I most proud of? I guess probably Snatch Game because it was the thing that sent me home previously. But I think what I'm actually most proud of is like I really like my runways. And that was the thing that like, put me on the gallows the most on my first time around. So I thought my runways were really strong. And if you disagree, you've probably already written that in the comments. But I really liked them, and I look back and I felt like I showed like very diverse silhouette and like a range of looks and things that were very important to me, including like outfits dedicated to my Nigerian British heritage, like a little bit of theological queer history with Saint Sebastian, and also for no reason a pregnant alien bride because camp and geeky. So I think I represented myself through those looks really well, and I'm quite proud of them.
And also, one of your standout moments was your homage to the gorgeous Cherry Valentine. So how did it feel for you to kind of continue Cherry's legacy in that way?
I think that was like the most important thing for me. Before anyone had even had a phone call for Versus the World, I had like a conversation with Lawrence Chaney that was like, oh gosh, what if we get to go back? Like, what would you do? What would we do? Just like a fun, campy, girly FaceTime. And we sort of agreed, like, if either of us ever go back, someone has got to do an homage to Cherry because it was such a great loss that our season felt, sort of losing someone who was literally probably the only cast member who was a friend to every other cast member. Um, we all felt it. It was very difficult. So it was so important to be able to go back and be able to do that and remind everyone of Cherry's legacy. And also remind everyone sort of the kindness that Cherry had and everything that she spoke up for and advocated. Like, she isn't here anymore, but there are so many people who are very prominent in sort of traveler pride and her mental health advocacy. There are other people who have like picked up that mantle, and I think it's important people don't forget those things as well because she was so passionate about them.
Well, you did it flawlessly. It was gorgeous. And also, speaking of Lawrence Chaney, what was it you tweeted or wrote the other day that both of you are called Lawrence and both of you are star sign? Is that right?
We're both Libras called Lawrence. Yeah.
So the hack for Drag Race is you need to be called Lawrence and you need to be a Libra. You're a winner then. You've won.
I would say so. If the stars align, then you too can be a winner. But also, I think UK season 2 is like the UK's version of season 9 in the US, where they've had like Sasha Velour won, and Trinity won, and Shay won, and Peppermint would definitely win if she ever went back.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
now I'm like, is season 2 like, Bimini, Taste? Who's next? Who's going to win things?
Yeah.
I think we're the season 9.
Or like season 5, in the sense that if they do a UK All Stars, then literally half the cast of All Stars will be season 2.
Oh, God, yeah. And if they do a UK All Stars, I already won. So I'm coming back to walk through the workroom and go, yes, I'm here to help you with your Snatch games. Definitely just that.
What was going through your mind when you were like, okay, I'm going to do Anne Boleyn? Because it was so ludicrously brilliant. And I loved how you incorporated your sense of humor into it. Because obviously we don't know what we don't know what she was like. And I liked how every line was basically something similar to what you said, but with a stupid twist, a stupid beheaded twist. I loved it. So what was going through your mind with that Snatch game?
Play to my strength.
Mhm.
And also, if anything needed fact checking, I know every lyric of Six the Musical inside out. So I was like, okay, I've got dates. Like, if she asks me when I came to the UK, like, I've got the beginning of Don't Lose Your Head. Like, thank you, Toby Marlowe and Lucy Moss, because that's the reason that I was in the top for Snatch Game. Oh, I won the lip sync as well that episode, I think. Yes.
Your first lip sync then, wasn't it?
You can say only, that's fine.
Do you know
Until the final.
until the final.
Thank
I still have a soft spot for your Mel B. I'm sorry, I fucking love it. I love it.
you. Hopefully Mel B's never seen it.
Oh, that's funny. If I ever get the chance to speak to Mel B, that'll be on my list.
Roll the tapes.
I have to ask, if the call came for All Winners 2, are you down? Are you doing it?
Listen, all I'm saying is I was on UK season 2. I was on UK versus the World season 2. So being on the second series of Drag Race franchises is my thing. And by that I mean I should have been cast on Belgique series 2. No, I mean, yeah, of course I would. If Rue calls, then you come a running.
Who would you like to compete against? I need to see you in a room with Bob. I need that to happen. Like
Oh,
now.
absolutely. It needs to be a room with Bob, and then in an untucked for no reason, Bob gets a video call from Thorgy. Cam. I think it'd be Cam to do it with Lawrence Chaney, because it's like we've got a lot of similarities. Um, but Lawrence wears purple. I guess that's the main difference. No, we've got a lot of similarities, and we're obviously very good friends. So I think it'd be really fun to compete with Lawrence a second time, but on a friend level, rather than like the weird, tense atmosphere of Drag Race the first time when you've never met anyone before.
I'm dreaming it into existence.
Me too. And also Spanky Jackson.
I'd love to see Envy Peru on there.
Camp. I'd obviously be the makeup queen over her that season.
Fiona, that would be. Yeah, I want them all. I want them all. I literally can't pick.
I love Kiona from France. I love her. Yeah. Oh no, this is already really fun. Now I'm thinking about it too deeply.
I will speak to you when you win All Winners 2.
Or before, that's fine. But if you must wait for an eventuality that is statistically improbable, then slay.
Album. I want to talk to you about your album because you won Drag Race on the same day you released your debut album. So
Yes,
what was that day like for you to have two huge things at the same time?
I love having two huge things at the same time. It was very overwhelming but very exciting. And the album was like, you know, in the iTunes charts, and it's out on vinyl as well. Everyone's sort of been posting today because the Read My Lips signed vinyls have started arriving, which is really exciting. So it's like super cool. I am the first UK queen to have released a full album.
I can't believe you slept on Found Someone for so long. That's my favorite song on the album. And I can't
Is it
believe,
really?
yeah, I love that one. And I looked on Spotify today and it has the least amount of streams of all the others. And I was like,
I guess maybe like the like UK garage influence was a bit I don't know, maybe felt a bit random. So just tucked it neatly into the album. But stream it. It's great.
how have you found reception to the album so far?
It's been really lovely. I think people are enjoying it, streaming it, downloading it on iTunes. It was at one point above a Bob Marley album in the iTunes chart, which is insane.
And also,
It's been very
when you look at the iTunes charts, you've got to take out all of the soundtrack albums because they don't count for the charts. So you're probably higher than you think you were.
really.
Soundtracks don't chart. They're on like a separate chart. So if you were like I think you said it was like number 14 at one point, you were probably in the top 10 because you've got to remove all the soundtracks.
Oh my god, it was at number 11, I think, last time I saw, that was the highest one that I saw.
Yeah.
So, but Simon Jones PR is there refreshing the page every 30 seconds. So he might have seen a different one. But I saw it at number 11. Oh, so if you take out the sound checks, soundtrack. Oh, that's so calm. So
Yeah.
it was in the top 10 of the iTunes chart.
I mean, it's electro pop, synth pop haven, this album. What artists? Because I know you love pop music. I know you love sci-fi. I want to know like what inspired. I don't think Doctor Who inspired any of these songs, obviously. But what inspired it?
You'd be surprised, actually. There's one song that I did on a previous EP called Antidote, where there's this bit where there are oohs in the background just before the final chorus, and that is actually inspired by the Doctor Who theme tune. So, what inspired it? Honestly, like, most of my writing for that period of time was inspired by a, a bad breakup, and writing my feelings out about a person that I don't talk to anymore, which means it's not Pixie Polite before anyone says that. That was many, many years ago. Everyone calm down. We've moved on. But yeah, that's what a lot of my writing is about. But, we're past that era. It's done. It's on the album. So maybe I'll write happy love songs.
Does this person, the ex, are they aware that the album is about them? Have they?
The whole album is not about them. Do not give them that level of credit. They do not feature that heavily in my brain or existence. They definitely know that some of the songs are. But then I was writing miserable songs about us when we were together, so God knows why I didn't figure out sooner that the red flags were red flagging.
It feels like a lot of these days when an artist release an album, they kind of then call it a day, like an era is no longer an era anymore. Please tell me you're going to make this an era. I need more videos. I need more performances. Yeah, tell me your plans for the album.
My plans for the album, to listen to it, I guess. I'm not really sure how to answer that. I might perform some of it on the UK versus the World tour. That would be quite fun. Obviously, I'll be up and down the country doing my gigs, and up and down and around the world, performing for the people. So yeah, that'll be fun. But I've already started like writing, and like I'm literally recording new music on Tuesday or Monday.
New EP? What is it? Do you know what form it's going to take yet?
I don't, but we shall see.
What's next? What are your plans as Queen of the Mother Talking World?
A nap. I'm so tired. I'm gonna have a nap. I've got a podcast called The Final Frontier, which is really wonderful. And my guest for next week's episode is the gorgeous runner-up of UK versus the World, Hanaconda, my Antipodean bestie. So I'm very, is that how you say that word? That's how I say that word. So I'm very excited.
Amphibian? Is that what?
No, I know I said Antipodean.
What is that?
I feel like some people say Antipodian, which I don't think is how I want to say it.
I literally thought you said amphibian. I was like, what the fuck?
My frog BFF, Anaconda. Anaconda's a snake. That's not an amphibian.
Kind of worked then, kind of.
Anyway, Hanaconda's on my podcast, The Final Frontier. So you can stream that wherever you get your podcasts. Obviously, my new album is out. We've got the UK versus the World tour. You can get tickets from Boss Events for that. I've got solo projects coming up, so you should be seeing some things about that soon. And just support all of the queens because they're all amazing. I do appreciate and love all of them. And if you feel like sending hate to someone, like just like make yourself a cup of tea, like or go for a walk. Or do you know what I do sometimes if I'm like annoyed? I'll type it and then I'll just close the app. So I didn't post it. So I got my feels out about it, but I didn't need to upset anyone. And that's nice.
Yeah, if you're feeling a type of way, go to Burger King, get yourself a crown, and feel like the iconic Carol, Mother of the Talking World, Queen of
Mother of Dragons.
Thank you very much for chatting with me today, and congratulations again on winning. You deserve it.
Thank you. No, I agree.
You never once flopped a single challenge, so I don't understand this whole narrative of Push by Production when you didn't do bad in any single episode.
I agree. I think it was probably that episode that like they got one of the producers to dress as Anne Boleyn and do Snatch Game for me. Or when they brought Natalie Cassidy in to impersonate me at a roast.